content of the food. Number two, the fatty substances. Fat in any form, oil, ghee, cream, butter, mayonnaise, cheese, any forms of oil should be reduced in our diet. I am Dr. Hitendra Kolita, working as a gynecologist at Sasti Hospital, Rangya, Assam. So far as polycystic ovarian disease is concerned, it is the most common metabolic and endocrinal abnormality in the reproductive age group of women. So around 5 to 15% of women is suffering from this disease, and this prevalence is again very high in the younger group of patients, which range from 15 to 25%. And it has been seen that this disease is more prevalent among the higher strata of the social economic higher group of the individuals. Now, how do you know that somebody is suffering from polycystic ovarian disease? There are some clinical features. Out of that, the disease causes anovulation, which is revealed by different forms of menstrual abnormalities. Most of them, they suffer from oligomenorrhea. That means normally the menstruation should happen at every 28 plus minus 7 days interval, but in these patients, usually menstruation is not, it doesn't occur at 28 days interval. Usually it is delayed by 2 months, 3 months, sometimes more than that. And rarely we find the polymenorrhea patients where menstruation also occurs less than 22 days interval. So menstrual abnormality is one of the important clinical features. The other features include the hyperandrogenism. That means this group of patients has got some high androgen levels, so it is revealed in the form of hair fall, excess hair growth, that is called hirsutism, then obesity, that means waist-hip ratio is altered, then acanthosis nigricans, some blackening in the back of the neck, and sometimes we find the patient with infertility. So mostly patient comes to us with these features: oligomenorrhea, obesity, hair fall, acne, or infertility. When you go for ultrasound, we will see morphologically the ovaries contain multiple small follicles arranged peripherally in a necklace pattern with very thick hyperechoic stroma. And if we go for laboratory investigation, most of them, they suffer from high androgen levels. PCOD is not diagnosed alone by clinical features or laboratory tests. When at least 2 of these features, either clinical or laboratory androgens or ultrasound features, if 2 out of 3 features says that it's a PCOD patient, then we should diagnose them as polycystic ovarian disease. Now, why this condition is important for us? As you know, this polycystic ovarian disease patient, they in the long term leads to infertility. Secondly, majority of them, they develop diabetes. The prevalence of diabetes or glucose intolerance is around 40% at the age of 40, which is very, very high. Then majority of them may develop glucose lipid abnormalities, which might lead to increased risk of cardiovascular diseases. Even skeletal health is also been affected in the long run. So understanding this risk, this infertility, menstrual disorder, this obesity, then cardiovascular disease, besides fatty liver, and in one of my clinical studies I found the prevalence of gallbladder stone, occurrence of gallbladder stone is much more higher in PCOD patients in comparison to normal population. I found a very high rate of gallstone formations. That is another high risk. So many of the patients also develop physiological abnormality because of all those features: obesity, infertility, disorders, all those things. Understanding all those risk factors, we must manage this condition in a very good clinical and scientific way. Now, why this PCOD occurs? there are two main contributory factors. One is genetic factor, that means the families where the prevalence of diabetes is higher, those family members, their offspring are supposed to suffer from PCOD more than the normal populations. But gene we cannot change, we do not have any authority to change gene. But the second contributory factor, which is much more important, that is lifestyle. Poor lifestyle is one of the most important contributor of position of this polycystic ovarian disease. So we can do something in this aspect. So lifestyle, so what to do, how to prevent progression of the disease, how to come out from this problem in the long run. So we have to focus more on lifestyle management. Now what does lifestyle management means? Lifestyle management has got basically three components. One is mind, and there is diet, and third is exercise. So mind must be relaxed. So the food for mind is when mind get engaged with varieties of activities, then it's a food for mind. And best food for mind is yoga. Doing regular practice of yoga in a holistic way definitely helps us in managing or maintaining proper hormonal balance, because yoga is the only system which connects the mind, soul and body. But to get the actual advantage of yoga, one need to do it continuously for a long term and with interest. And it has got many other fold advantages also. So besides mind control, secondly the diet. The diet in PCOD should be less calorie containing. It depends on the age and the BMI of that individual, but one should have a calorie consciousness. The majority of the calories usually comes from carbohydrate and fats. So carbohydrate content in diet should be a bit less. Natural food substance which gives us carbohydrate are number one is rice, number two is sugar, number three is refined flour. These three things should be curtailed or controlled either in quantity or in quality. We can drastically reduce sugar content in our diet. We can reduce flour or at least refined flour content in our diet. Then the rice, the quantity can be reduced, then quality can be improved by suppose having only brown rice or using the water content of the rice or taking only one meal rice every day, probably will reduce the carbohydrate content of the food. Number two, the fatty substances. Fat in any form, oil, ghee, cream, butter, mayonnaise, cheese, any forms of oil should be reduced in our diet so that total calorie content becomes lesser, and it should be replaced by plenty of green leafy vegetables and fruits and salad, and water should be enough. One must drink minimum 2 to 3 liters of water every day and plenty of fruits, vegetables and salad. So carbohydrate and fat should be less in diet, and calorie content should not be suppose more than 2000 calories per day in average. We should try to maintain BMI less than 25 at any cost. So third is exercise. One must do exercise regularly, minimum 5 days in a week, 45 minutes a day, minimum 2 kilometers walking or jogging, minimum 200 calories one must burn every day by any form, cycling, jogging, swimming or doing household work. By any means one must do regular exercise. The morning 1 hour should be for the self, so that one can be healthy for the remaining 23 hours. 1 hour everybody must spend for doing proper yoga or exercise in the early morning, so that they can be healthy and happy in the remaining 23 hours of the day. So exercise should be a regular event, not only suppose monthly once or twice. You must do it regularly. Now, so far as your therapy is concerned, we have got our full basket of therapies, therapeutic elements. Out of that, for maintaining these metabolic abnormalities, we have got metformin molecules, and for other molecules like myoinositol, D-carboxyl, N-acetylcysteine, so many other molecules are there. For controlling this excess androgen hormones, we have got drospirenone or cyproterone containing oral contraceptive pill. Then we have got spironolactone. So we have got some steroid hormones also to reduce androgen. Then, so far as infertility is concerned, we might manage this patient either by lifestyle management, reducing body weight, besides some ovulation-inducing agent like chlorpheniramine citrate, maybe some hormones, maybe we have to go for intrauterine insemination or IVF in certain cases, or we have got some surgical management also in infertility like laparoscopic ovarian drilling procedure. So what I want to say that for management of PCOD patients, we have got basket of therapeutic means, but still then 50% of the management of this condition depends on the patient itself. Only 50% remain under this medical therapeutic means. So one should more focus on the lifestyle management and body weight. Body weight should be ideal according to BMI, according to age of the individual. So my message for this condition, the PCOD, is that there are two messages. One is, I have to be very, very aware, especially in those families who has got diabetes in their families. They should be very, very aware about this condition. Number two, the glucose challenge test should be done at yearly basis after 20 years of age, if we really want to prevent long-term complication or long-term happening of this problem. Secondly, by doing this regular obesity test or glucose challenge test, we can either delay the onset of not only diabetes, also other metabolic disorders or lipid disorders coming out from this PCOD problem. So PCOD is a common disorder and we can manage it well, but one has to be very much sincere about managing of those conditions. Thank you.